I'm Dr. Sean with ActiveLife.
I'm Dr. Ray, Director of Staff for ActiveLife.
This rope, and this rope are going to represent different phases of tendon damage. And Ray is going to tell you how you know if you should be resting or doing something very different than resting to fix it.
The first tendon we're going to start with is your healthy tendon. Let's say we take this tendon, and this is where everybody's tendon starts. Now we start training, we have some irritation, we have some long-standing issues that happen in our tendons. We can live on a spectrum. On the left end of the spectrum, we have what's called reactive tendinopathy. If we look at a reactive tendon, you can see that there's kind of a lot going on here. There's some irritation, and if we let it rest and recover after, let's say, 100 kipping pull-ups, it's going to revert back to relatively normal state. If we keep training on it, and the day after we did 100 pull-ups, we start to do max effort power cleans or a high volume barbell cycling workout, we're going to keep irritating that tendon, and eventually it's going to break down. Now, we can then start to load that tendon and make it stronger, but for a tendon like this, it needs rest. This is typically going to get worse as you start to warm up. It's important for a coach to know that, because when your athlete comes in, you need to know how to manage them for that day. So it's important to note that this is not just information for coaches. For those of you who train by yourself in your garage, you need to know how to manage yourself as an athlete. The next thing we're going to look at is a tendon health issue that doesn't require rest. It actually requires load. On the other end of the spectrum, we have a degenerative tendon. Now, this degenerative tendon has been chronically overloaded. Think of something that was reactive, got out of hand, just kind of kept moving down, but repairing. Kept moving down the spectrum, repairing. Kept moving down the spectrum, repairing. Now it's kind of disorganized. It doesn't quite look like this healthy tissue. For these athletes or for these clients, what we're going to want to do is change the way they load. So we use a lot of eccentric load, 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, to start to take this tendon looking like this and ultimately remodel it back to a state where it can stay nice and tight, produce plenty of force, and transmit from muscle to bone.
So this is important because we've seen clients who've been resting for weeks, months, even years. We, in one case, had a client who was at the CrossFit Games and then 8 months later still hadn't squatted. Once we started having the conversation about him, what was going on, we recognized very quickly that this was no longer that really bad reactive tendon. It was something that actually needed work. It needed the eccentric loading that we were going to give it to strengthen the structure. So by knowing what your body needs, you can actually dose appropriately. And if you dose wrong, you send it down the wrong path. If you dose right, you can fix everything. If you're somebody who feels like you need some help deciding which way you should go, click the link in bio and schedule a free call to find out if we can help you. If you're a coach and you want to help your clients better manage this scenario, DM us and let's talk about getting you into our immersion course. Otherwise, this rope is really strong, even when it's broken down. It's not going to tear. Did you get that?